They gave her back to me, Scotty.
Gave her back, sir? I doubt it was that easy with Nagura.
You're right.
When I was a young kid, I had no cable or any streaming service. To entertain me, my parents used to bring in loads of movies or movie rentals. The first sci-fi movie I remember watching was the Star Wars trilogy, and I was hooked. My parents saw that I liked that genre, and they brought home Star Trek the Motion Picture. This was my first time I heard about Star Trek, and in comparison to Star Wars, it was a completely different thing. But was it any good? Let's find out. I'm Meffistoe, like, share, and subscribe because this is my review of the movie Star Trek the Motion Picture.
It will pass into Federation space fairly close to us.
Heading?
Sir, it's on a precise heading for Earth.
Back in 1969, the original series was scrapped, and Gene Roddenberry, the creator, lobbied for a movie epic. With the success of the Trek conventions and the success of the show syndication, Paramount began working on the movie back in 1975, only to scrap that idea and move on to a full television show called Star Trek Phase 2. By the time 1977 rolled around and movies like Star Wars and Close Encounters fueled the public's appetite for sci-fi, so Paramount went back to the original idea of making a full motion picture. The original crew was gathered, and in 1979, the year I was born, the movie was released.
Captain, I appreciate the welcome. I wish the circumstances were less critical. Epsilon 9 is monitoring the intruder. Keep a channel open.
The story of the movie begins as we see three Klingon ships encounter what seems to be a massive cloud. The Klingons, being their warlike selves, engage it and begin to take heavy losses. Their distress signal is briefly picked up by a Federation monitoring station, but that particular station also gets attacked.
No response. I have a no reading at the center of the cloud.
Definitely something inside there, but all scans are being reflected back.
Meanwhile, the Enterprise is getting ready for its maiden voyage after a full refit. Kirk is now an admiral in charge of inspecting the ship and the crew before they leave. When the Federation receives the distress call from that outpost, they charge Jim to take the crew and the ship and investigate the matter.
Just finished 18 months redesigning and refitting the Enterprise. How in the name of hell do they expect me to have it ready in 12 hours?
Kirk, of course, takes on the job and conscripts his best friend McCoy to serve with him, and he heads off to take a look. All the old crew greets Kirk back, but there is some strife. The now captain of the Enterprise, Decker, is enraged. He was looking forward to take his ship on its maiden voyage, and now he is left being the first officer because of, rank.
You haven't logged a single star hour in 2.5 years. That plus your unfamiliarity with the ship's redesign, in my opinion, sir, seriously jeopardizes this mission.
Before the ship makes it to the cloud, they pick up one unlikely traveler, Spock, who went back to Vulcan to undergo the Kolinar, the Vulcan emotion wipe, and now he has come back. This is in order to help Kirk and McCoy with this unknown entity, and the band is truly back together.
Spock, you haven't changed a bit. You're just as warm and sociable as ever.
Nor have you, Doctor, as your continued predilection for irrelevancy demonstrates.
When they do get to this enormous cloud, they are first being probed and somewhat attacked by this entity, but they soon discover that it is much more than just a simple cloud. With the help of Spock, they soon discover the nature of the cloud and the force that drives it forward.
The sensor must contain some special meaning.
Out of the 6 movies of Star Trek with the original crew intact, this was the first one that was the most resembling a long episode of the original series. It's some of people's favorite, even though they acknowledge that the second film might be a little bit better overall. To me, it was a great introduction to the trio of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. But from the first 6, this one I saw the least times in my life. The special effects were absolutely phenomenal compared to the times, especially when you're talking about things that were done outside of the realm of ILM, which were the best in the business back then. The music was composed by Jerry Goldsmith, and it is my personal favorite of all of the Star Trek themes. And it is this theme that was modified and was used in Star Trek The Next Generation, the next TV series that started in 1987.
Locked in an alien vessel, 6 hours from Earth orbit. Our only contact with our captor is that probe. If we can control it, persuade it, use it.
The movie is not bad at all. In terms of the story, it even makes more sense and considered more Trekky than Star Trek 4. But Paramount made a lot of mistakes with this movie. It's just too damn long, and it is too damn slow. Be aware that there is a director's cut out there, but it is still very, very slow compared to any other Trek movie.
We can only hope that there is a life form aboard that vessel that reasons the way we do.
The studio spent a ton of money on the way it looks, so they wanted everyone to see what they created. Over and over and over again, there are far too many glory shots of the Enterprise in this movie, and not only that, it has a lot of exterior shots where you see no Enterprise at all. It's as if they wanted to shout out to you, "Look at this glorious thing I've created. Look at it."
This was your idea. This was your idea, wasn't it?
Bones is a thing out there.
Why is any object we don't understand always called a thing?
I do confess that combined with Goldsmith's theme, it's fun for a few minutes, but it's a little bit too much when you have to watch yet another wide shot of a slow-moving ship from different angles just to fill in a couple of hour time slot.
Mr. Checkout, log Mr. Spock's Starfleet Commission reactivated. List him as science officer.
All the main actors, Shatner, Nimoy, and Kelly, do their job adequately, as if it was yesterday that they turned out for the set of the show. But there were some subtle differences. Having went back and watched the entire show, I can tell you that the characters show their evolution through time, and the film version is nothing like the TV version. This movie was a sort of a bridge between the old series and the newer films, and this goes for all main 3 roles.
This simple feeling is beyond Vader's comprehension.
There's another thing I didn't really like about this movie: the costumes. The uniforms in this movie are just bad. The color palette on them just seems a bit off. It's beiges and pale blues. It's just awful. If you take all the uniforms from all time, including all the different shows, series, and movies, this one was by far my least favorite. And for a movie that, generally speaking, looks great in terms of special effects, the costuming was just bad. So what is my recommendation? Well, simple. If you've never watched a Star Trek movie before and you've only seen the J.J. Abrams version, stop what you're doing and pick up this movie to watch. Out of the 6 with the original crew, this is my least favorite, but I will not give up on it. It's a great introduction to the world of Trek. It is the most Trek of all 6 movies, I admit, and it lays the foundation of the magical relationship between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. On the plus side, this movie is some of Star Trek fans' favorite one. You might find that out after you watch it.
It's borderline on the simulator, Captain. I cannot guarantee that she'll hold up.
Warp drive, Mr. Scott. Ahead warp 1, Mr. Sulu.
Accelerating to warp 1, sir.
I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this review, smash that like button to help me out and beat that algorithm. Check out other reviews that I've done in the past, or check out our live Saturday show where we cover all sorts of amazing films. And remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I'll see you on the next video.